It's the station to listen to.
Arirang Radio.
We've all done it before, sat there and asked ourselves or someone around us, what if? So a full hour of everyone's perspective on the what if. The day is coming for you with our what if. And today, as always, we've got our troublemaker duo, Joel and Dane in the studio. What's up?
Yes.
Oh, Dane's not a troublemaker, is
Well,
he?
yet to see, yet to be seen.
You're opening up though.
Slowly turning into
Yeah, yet to be seen. How was everybody's Chuseok?
It was
I don't
great.
remember.
It was very
I don't
calm.
remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what did you do?
I spent some great times with my family.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Dane, are you like kunjip? Do you have to do like 제사 and like all this other stuff, or do
No,
you
we
just
don't.
have family?
We don't do chesa.
Okay.
Oh, really?
We just have great dinner together.
Okay.
And we talk a lot because we're really close.
Okay.
I think our family is especially really close with each other
Okay.
compared to my friends.
Okay.
So yeah, we just talked a lot and had some good food.
How big is the extent of your family? Like, do you have a lot of cousins that come over? Does everybody come to your place? Do you go somewhere else?
We do have a pretty big family. So when there's some special events like this, we only meet up like partially.
Oh.
So everyone does it like separate?
Yeah, separate.
Okay, so only
It's
like
really
a
hard
couple
for
of
us to, like-
cousins and
yeah.
aunts come, or okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But-
that's nice.
I didn't actually do Jesa this year. I usually do.
You have to go to
Daejeon. But usually
Daejeon.
we go. And I usually go and like,
His family goes all out, like
yeah, we do like
Wow.
the table with the spread and
like
all
yeah,
that stuff.
his family is like
But yeah.
hardcore.
So yours is like a must.
Usually it is, but this year because next week actually, I'm going to America, and my uncle who usually handles the Jessa stuff is going with me, and all of his extended family are all going to the States with me to visit my mom and my dad. So we're like, oh well, since we're all going to be going to the States next week anyway, let's just not do it this year, and then we'll do it whenever later. But usually when we're a family, our whole family gets together, like my grandfather's kids and their kids and all of us, and then. After that, everyone goes to Daegu after we finish Jesa in Daejeon, and then everyone goes to Daegu, and then it's 큰 할아버지 and 작은 할아버지. Like my older grandfather, I don't know what that is. No, not my great grandfather. My grandfather's older brother and his younger brother. The whole family gets together at that point, and at that point it's like 90 people. It was pretty insane. But yeah, so I'm kind of glad I didn't have to do it this year because honestly, Daejeon was pretty far. Luckily, the traffic wasn't too bad this year. I did travel around Seoul a little bit during Chuseok. There is no traffic, and it is amazing. I went to Namyangju yesterday, too, for the first time ever in that capacity. I took the Milano fashion people that I did the fashion show with. They wanted to see I didn't know this, but there's apparently tons and tons of royal graves there. I just figured this out recently. And so they want to see like graves and stuff. And so I took them down there. It was pretty nice.
Okay.
I like Namyangju. I might move out there one day. It's
Royal
nice.
graves.
Yeah, well, it's very clean. The air is very nice.
I mean that's
I like it.
kind of a strange place to take course to.
I know. Well, there's a lot of
But yeah, when it comes to tourists though, like that's the kind of stuff you want to see. Like, the more
authentic Korean,
they want to go to the palaces, they want to see the graves, they want to, yeah.
Oh.
And it wasn't like super saturated because if you go to like Gyeongbokgung or like one of these places, there's tons and tons and tons. There's so many people, but you have to have a car if you want to get out there, like in those mountains where those graves are and all that, the tombs and stuff. So there wasn't that. I saw one team of foreigners, they're like Thai people, I think. But it was really nice. And yeah, had like bulgogi jeongsi. It was fun. How about you, Isak? What was your Chuseok like? What's the team?
So I spilled the tea with my Kpoppin fam in the first hour, but my TMI was that I played way too many games of screen golf during the holiday, which is great because I mean I got a lot of a workout done. I had to groom Luffy. This was like 3 weeks going. Like I constantly was like, I need to groom Luffy. I need to groom Luffy, and I groom him by myself. So I have to really buckle down and have the energy to do so. He's not a difficult dog to groom. He kind of just lays there and lets me do it. But he's just big. He's 10 kilos and normally groomers have many different types of razors that they use, but I only have one, and the reason why they have multiple is because it overheats. But I only have one, so I kind of have to wait for it to cool down in between. If not, I'm gonna burn him. And so that's the only reason why it takes, I think, a lot longer. If I had two, I think I probably would be a lot quicker, but I always have to kind of at least wait for like 2 to 3 minutes in between. So I have a system, but still, like, if he's difficult sometimes, which is pretty much just not laying the way I want him to, it takes a lot longer. Thankfully, it didn't take me that long, only 2.5 hours, which is a new record for me, only. But my back keeps spazzing now when I do it because I sit in the bathroom to do so, so it's easier to clean up. And sitting on tile for 2.5 hours is not doing any wonders for my back, especially at this age. So a back spasm caused me. I have a little bit of muscle pain right now because of just holding him, lugging him into the bath, and then So other than that, I'm fine.
What's his breed?
You've never seen Luffy, right?
I've never seen him.
He's a
Bichon.
Bichon. He's a big boy. I saw it because I always thought he looked small, right, in pictures. And then she brought him in one time, and he was sitting right. I was sitting right here, and he was sitting right next to me on like a baby carriage, a doggy carriage, and he was just staring at me the whole time, like just like staring at me. I was like, that is a big baby. Like
I thought Pichon was like one of the small.
So a lot of the Korean bichons are only like 6 kilos, and those are mostly Maltese mixes to keep them smaller. An average bichon is actually pretty big. So they're not as big as a standard poodle, but still they are on the bigger side. So a traditional bichon is actually way bigger.
Like a purebred, like a
purebred.
traditional.
And he is a purebred. So
he's handsome though. I do like.
Really?
He's got a lot of skin problems, but he is handsome. I you know what? I think there's gonna be a day where I'll probably have to bring him in when we have a what if.
That's gonna be great. I mean, like I love
He'll
dogs.
sleep. So I mean, there's not much to see. He'll probably just sleep in his carriage. But yeah, there's probably gonna be a day where you guys are gonna see him.
Everyone bring their dog. Yeah, PD can bring Gaku. We'll all just have a bunch of dogs running around here. You have a dog? No, right?
I used to.
Okay.
I used to, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so today we've got a really interesting question. The what if is actually pretty realistic. So what if we lived in a world where math disappeared?
That is a very rhetorical question.
When I got this script yesterday, I was like, what if math disappeared? I don't know how to, like, what do you mean math? Like, if it disappeared, like the concept of math disappeared?
I think this is pretty much what we're getting at. Like, if the concept of, because everybody hates math, you know what I mean?
Right.
Unless you're naturally talented. When it comes to, like, I feel that most commonly when you ask a student, what's your least favorite subject? Math, I think, makes like the top 2.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
At least.
I hate math.
I hate math.
Like,
I loathe it. I hate it with
me
a
too.
passion. And what sucks is whenever I sew, I use so much of it.
Yeah, you like geometry. There's everything in sewing.
There's everything in sewing. And it's just like, if I knew more math, I think I would be able to cut a lot of corners and figuring out the pattern pieces. But no, I'm sitting there with my calculator. Okay.
Are you kidding me? Were you good at math, first of all, in
think
school?
Dane
I feel
is.
like you were. You would
I
be.
think yeah, as a Korean, I know this would sound a little stereotypical, but as a Korean, you're really expected to be good at math.
Not only
back
that.
in school.
Wait, Dane, how old were you in Korean school? So in the Korean system, how long did you?
5 to 6 years, I guess. I don't remember exactly.
So like 5th grade, 6th grade?
Yeah.
So the average 5th grader, 6th grader stuff in math that Koreans are obligated to pass in elementary in Korea is like AP stuff in high school in the States.
That
Really?
is true, yeah.
It's true. So when I got to Korea and I was looking at some of the math problems that were coming on variety shows, like the Yenings, I was like, I have no clue what that is. And the celebrities were being treated like ditzy individuals because they couldn't figure it out. I was like, I have no clue what that is.
You know, I when I was in college, I had to take an economics class, and that is based on the Suneung level of Korean for Korean students. Even though my particular professor, he was a Korean guy, but the class was in English. And I remember you commented on a photo I put up on Fbook, and it was like the most difficult equation I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, I didn't even know where to start. I was like, I don't even know anything what's going on. I think I could do without math. I still like my math skills have regressed so far that I now count on my fingers again. Like I'm not even playing with you. Like I don't even have time to get a calculator out. Like I just don't care. Like honestly, I don't think I'll ever be in a situation where I need to know that kind of stuff again. So
Yeah.
But yeah,
Same for
like
me.
the math in Korea is crazy. Even when I was watching, you watched the Reply series recently.
yeah?
보라 was just like, 이거는 초등학교 때 배웠던 거야. Like she screams at Toksun for not knowing simple math when I'm just like, that's not simple math.
not for us
like,
simple-minded Americans over here.
American system is failing us with math because I think the only thing that I liked in my Korean high school that I went to the foreign high school, one of our math classes, the math teacher somehow the math teacher that they wanted to contract that year somehow like didn't come or whatever, so our principal ended up teaching the class because we were so short staffed, and he actually bought like a very practical book, like math book on like, you know, how to balance a checkbook and stuff like that. He actually started teaching that. A lot of the Korean kids were complaining through and through because they were like, we don't use checks in Korea. But I was like, this is the kind of stuff we actually need in schools. Like how to balance a checkbook, how to get a loan, how to, you know, what is interest rate, you know, like all that. We need to learn that stuff in school. I don't need to know what the square root of something is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my benchmark for math skills, I don't know why this is, but my benchmark is always what year and how old were you when you learned your times tables? That's where my benchmark is. Because I remember exactly when I was forced to learn 1 through 12, I think is what I learned.
I have a question for you. Coming from an more on base mostly for an American standpoint of education, how did you learn your times tables? Because I was taught the answer.
You mean you were taught the answer first and then you figured out what it was?
So up from second grade to fourth grade, my teachers only gave me the answer. So we memorized 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. That's all we memorized. So we never sat there and went like 2 times is what? 3 times what is what? They literally just told us the answers in order.
So you don't learn like the theory behind it
Right.
or like anything.
So what
Really?
happened is
That's weird.
so
that is
to
weird.
this day, whenever I'm doing times tables, I'm going through the answers.
Really?
And I'm counting on my fingers because I'm like, wait, but in Korea, they have a whole song.
They,
Oh yeah,
from
we
1
do.
through 12?
We do, yeah.
The times tables is a song.
Oh, really? That's a long song.
So no, it's like a chant. It's like Ian,
it's got the same melody. Yeah,
so
yeah.
like you're just chanting like what is what. So like you're doing like 2 times 2 is, you know, like you're doing that all through the whole times
Really?
tables.
Because we learn both the theory and the answers, right? So I think I wouldn't call it a song because it's kind of stupid to be honest. But it's just one of the ways to memorize the answers of
Right.
the times table.
I honestly, I think from what I remember was they gave we had a lot of quizzes. We did it like every week we would have one. I think the quizzes started in like 7th grade, but this I wasn't on base during this. I didn't go to an on base school at that time, and basically they just gave us the big chart. It's like 2 and then 2, you know, like the big the chart, and they were like, memorize it. We're gonna have a quiz every however long. And I just memorized it. Although there's still a few for some reason that I have problems with. 7 times 6 is one of them. And like just there's a few of them that are like, I still like would have to think about it a little bit.
See, that's what but I feel that the American way of teaching math, I think is a pullback because when I look at a lot of my Korean friends and even Dane, like when he's talking about it now, I noticed that like he said, Korea is really big on teaching the theory behind it. How you got from point A to point B is pretty well explained, and that's
Right.
kind of the basis behind it. Whereas in the US, they were like, oh, in the US, they give you an additional sheet paper to give your work because they don't let you do it in your head.
Because you know, like how I
That's so stupid.
took both SATs and Korean Sunung, like I did the both. What I realized was
would never.
what I realized was if you don't have a really good foundation of basic mathematics, you cannot solve a single question on 한국 수능
Right, right.
math. I think you're actually like required to actually understand every theory behind all the linear equations, all the basic of mathematics. to even start on the 수능.
Yeah. And so you know what? There's a drama that was recently aired in Korea, 일타 Scandal. It 정경호 was the main lead. 전도연 is starring in there as well. 정경호's character is a 학원 강사. So he's a 학원 teacher, but he's like really popular. Like guys to like make millions and millions of dollars teaching at 학원s. And he's a math expert, right? And he's like doing a lot of equations. I literally have learned none of them. I was watching the drama and I was just like, what? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, because Korean teachers are like, they expect you, if you're a Korean, they expect you to like already know.
Right. It's not a stereotypical thing of like Asians doing math, like math very well. Like the standards in Korea are way higher than in the US. And then of course when you get to high school, you get to choose what kind of math that you take.
You do? In Korea? You mean like geometry or physics or something like that?
I remember my my cousins when they were going to high school, you can choose either more scientific math or mathematical math.
They call it 탐구, right?
Oh.
There are different like classes.
I didn't even know that.
Well, in Korea you can do that
Really?
Yeah.
I take none of them. Can you take none? I take none.
You have to take
You gotta choose one.
I'd rather learn a whole nother language than have to do more math classes.
Me
honestly.
too.
It's not worth it.
Same.
One thing I hated about math, I think, was that I'm a quick learner. So if my teacher or professor was teaching me something, I get it that day. I make notes, but I'm the type of person that when I turn around, I don't remember.
Me too. No, me too.
And so for me, it sucks because math it's a building, right? It's like a ladder. You have to have the foundation for you to build upon it because math is only building on equation on equation. You're taking basic concepts and constantly building, right? I keep resetting at the base level, and so whenever I'm trying to build on top of it, I'm just like, wait, what?
You know, I'm with you because, you know, I'm the type of person, like, I am not extremely detail oriented. I'm not. That's not who I am. Like, I'm not very detail oriented on things. I'm a big picture kind of guy. So when it comes to math, especially a complicated equation or something like that, like you said, it's like a building, right? It has the foundations and then all the floors or whatever. If you screw up even a little bit at the very bottom, when you first start, you will waste so much time getting to the end of an equation just to find out that it's wrong. And then you have to go all the way back and redo it again, which I can't stand. I hate that.
I used to hate that too, because when we started building, you know how like you have the brackets and what to do first, and then you have to build out of it. You have to find the number first, and then you have to constantly build out of it. I see. The thing is that if my teacher told me, okay, in every equation, anything in the parentheses goes first, and then the bracket goes next, and you can build off of that every single time you see that kind of equation. Then I can solve that. It's easier to remember, but math is not like that.
Oh my God.
Because if an X goes into it and a Y goes into it, then if you if you square it or whatever, then it's gonna be completely different. I'm just like, you know what? Forget it.
You know what? This is exactly.
I love how Dane is like, oh, I think I know what kind of equations he's thinking.
Because I have no idea what she just said. I'm not gonna lie to you. And this is why I'm a BA and not a BS in college. Like, because I'll tell you what, I can't do math equations, but what I can do is stretch 2 sentences into a whole paragraph on an essay if I have to.
I can do that
And you know what? My dissertation or my thesis definitely had a lot of word vomit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I stretched that thing out for 15 pages, and it was
I've done that.
basically me saying the same thing.
I think
Everybody
that's
does that. Everybody does that.
that's why I related to history so well, was because all you needed to do was go back and recheck dates and names and then take the test. So if I was taking a final or a midterm, all I needed to go back to my notes, rekindle my memory. Oh yeah, what date? Oh yeah, what name? Oh yeah, what general? Oh yeah, what country? And then just do the test.
Yeah.
Whereas math, if I took, like, I literally have had a chance to like look at a midterm, it's my handwriting. I have no clue what it is.
Math is like the one of the subjects that actually requires you to do a whole lot of revision
Right.
again and again.
Like literally, you are problem solving constantly. You're seeing the mistakes. It's like computer programming.
Yeah.
It's like going back and finding that one small one that's no longer there. You have to go back and find where the programming is wrong. And I know that a lot of people say like math equals trauma.
That's true. That's true. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I haven't had a math class since 2009, and I take no intention of taking one till the day I die. I'll tell you that right now. No way.
I love Aaron's joke. Math was the reason I failed a lot of my classes in school, but that's okay. My blood type, A positive, gives me the best grade on a daily basis. I love that.
Well, you know what? Okay, this is kind of bad. But when I was in college, that was during my economics class I was just telling you guys about. I was having such a hard time with that class. Like, it was awful. So, like, I was in very big danger of failing that class. And if I had failed that one class, I would have to take a whole other semester.
No.
And I was freaking out. So I was like, I can't fail. And this is after my group already disbanded. So I made the unprecedented move of, unfortunately, I brought my album that had all my members sign it and a poster. And I went to my professor before class started. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm having such a hard time in this class. Like, this is why. I'm actually a K-pop idol. And I gave him my album, my poster. And he was a no-nonsense kind of guy. Because I thought maybe he could, help me out with, some extra credit or something, And I gave it to him. And he was like, oh, thank you. Like, okay, I understand. And as soon as class started, he was like, Joel, can you please stand up? And I was like, what? And he was like, so the reason why Joel has such low grades is because he's a K-pop idol. Isn't that amazing? He didn't give me any extra credits.
But you just embarrassed yourself. Well, that's amazing. Okay, well, we gotta...
He looked through your intentions.
Yeah, he looked through your intentions. No bribing there. What we have to do is do our skit for today, and I'm kind of interested in where the skit is going to go for this. So let's get ready for the skit. Is everybody on the pages?
Yes.
All right, music cue. All right, besties, are we all set for the trip? Again, I'm so sorry for convincing you guys to go on this trip and then being super busy to help plan.
It's fine. You set everything in motion and you told us you'd be busy too. I put myself in charge of food, so I've got everything we need. Get ready for Chef Joel.
Yeah, and I took care of the reservations. I have everything set for the train and for the rooms too. All we need to do is go.
Okay, well, I swear, I don't know what I would do without you two, my besties. I brought my very expensive camera to make the best pictures of the world, so get ready for that.
With faces like ours, you don't need an expensive camera to make us look good.
Excuse you, this is a very different camera. I mean, this thing cost me a very small fortune.
All right. You'll take great pictures and we'll love them. But let's get back to the important part of the trip. How are we going to split costs? Do you evenly put in the same amount and then use the amount, or have one person pay and we pay them later?
I hate counting, so someone else please take care of that. I'll stick with food.
I'm really bad with numbers too. I lose receipts as well.
I hate counting in numbers too, but it's the least I can do since I've been so busy. So give me all the receipts you guys have saved thus far.
I threw them all away and used a lot of cash, so I don't have any.
You can see what you used through your card app. I'll send you the details for the reservations right now.
Well, if you can't find anything, Jolyn, I'll just accept your very sweet offering for this trip.
I told you need to keep your receipts. I've seen a lot of friends fight after going on trips because of money.
And I've seen a lot of friends never talk to each other too. I'll pay for everything from this point on, and then you can pay me at the end of the trip.
I'm already tired with all this money talk.
Me too. Why is it that talking about money gets so exhausting?
Me three. I hate anything math.
Math or arithmetic, I don't really care. It's giving me a headache. Let's get something to drink. How are we paying?
Like I said, I got this round.
Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Estamos escuchando Arirang Radio desde Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Where are you listening from? Let us know. Leave it at arirangradio.com.
All right, so we're talking about if the concept of math was pretty much to disappear in the world. We actually didn't say what happened. We just got on a really fun tangent.
Yeah.
Monster X's 괜찮아, it's all right was Joel's song request.
Yes, because 수학 없어져도 괜찮아.
So he thinks it's okay, even though honestly, I think the world would be in chaos if we lose the concept of math. But still, it doesn't mean that I hate the subject even like.
I still have a loathing of math. So no, I think the entire world should.
I even had a tutor in junior high. So one of the high schoolers at our school was offering tutoring. And so she came to my house once a week and she was tutoring me in math. Like, even if she tried to help me, I was a lost cause.
But you know what though? I used to not think this. I used to think like, oh, you just got to put your nose to the grindstone. I just think there's some people that are good at that sort of thing and some people that just aren't. I just happen to be one of the people that's not.
You know what though? I used to
agree.
think that way too. I used to think that way too. But if we think about the Korean education system, I think that's not necessarily true.
That is like partially true, I think. Like you can
Yeah, okay.
work your way
Yeah.
into it.
I think like some people, I think I've never been detail oriented ever since I was a little kid. Like never. My brother's very detail oriented. I'm not. I think to some level, you know, obviously I didn't fail all my math classes because I wouldn't be here right now. But like some people are just naturally they're more natural at it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
like just based on their personality, the way their brain works. Mine does not work like that.
They've got better like 사고력, comprehensibility.
I have a friend who is really good with numbers, like even memorizing phone numbers and stuff like that. They're just like it's like off, it's like automatic. I'm just like
Oh please,
so envious.
Sometimes people are like, oh, 전화번호 알려주세요, and I'm like, like even my own, you know. And my phone number, don't get me wrong, is the only one that I have memorized now because we were little. You had to memorize like everybody's phone numbers, but now like the only one I know is my own, and even that sometimes I get confused. I'm like, is it blam 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 blam, or is it I can't remember. I don't know. I'm like brain fog or something.
Okay, so Dane, if there was no math in this world, we didn't get a chance to get your answer. What would you do? What would you think? How would you react?
I think, like, I think the world I live in is basically like revolving around mathematics.
Oh, it is. Even though
I think
we
the
hate
world
it.
itself is math.
It is.
It would
Like
fall apart.
we
yeah.
walk, we breathe, we talk. That's all math. So yeah, the system that the world is consist of is also relying on mathematics and built upon mathematics. So I think it would not make sense for me to like even try to imagine a world without mathematics. So
Can we?
maybe I'm too serious about this concept, or like
Are you an S?
I'm too deep.
Let me tell you,
Are
that's
you
the
an
most.
S? You're an N, right?
Maybe that's because I'm a Korean. I can't think of
I
anything
think
without doing math.
Well, that's again the Korean educational system. Even though people may not like every student in the class might not be able to follow and like with straight A's in the Korean system, I definitely feel that they are exposed to way more at a younger age. Now, do I agree with it? Not really, but I do think that the younger you are exposed to something, the better.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
yeah,
On anything though, language is another one.
Yeah,
Anything.
and
Yeah.
I feel that like with the American system that I was raised on, I feel that our math was definitely pulled back way too much. Like we were getting too easy of math. Like I think we were very much like just like, oh, it's okay with like math, especially because I feel that English, like if when you're learning like the reading and comprehension and stuff like that, when I was in school, was way more advanced than the math was in my
Right.
American
Yeah.
education.
Because
But in Korea, it's almost exactly the same. If not, math is even more.
you know, that's a good point because you and I were both lived at least up until our mid-adolescence in the States.
Right.
So when you think about it that way, by the time we were learning like times tables and basic division and stuff, that's like on the mathematics side of things, right? But on the other side, the art side, we were reading the Iliad and the Odyssey,
Right.
stuff like that. And that's a very
Right.
sophisticated word,
Right. Like
you know?
I was doing book reports in like 4th grade.
Oh yeah,
Like they were with like the comprehension and like, you know, grammar and that kind of stuff. But the thing is, American grammar and Korean English grammar is completely different.
It's different. Yeah. It's so
that is
different.
true.
The amount of times I've had my like even when I was a trainee, since everybody was like in high school and stuff like that, they're like, Isa, could you help me do my English homework? And I was looking at it, I was like,
They don't make sense.
this is in English.
They've got words that I don't even know
Right.
exist, like 완전체, like I only heard the word in like Digimon, like animations. Like what?
Well, because if you look at the what's the test that Koreans have to take for English professors? Is it TOEIC or TOEFL? I forget which one it is.
Both.
Oh, is it? Okay, I have seen one of those books, and they're like with the English words in it. I opened it. I was like, I don't know some a lot of these words. I don't know what this is.
So, and most of the tests in Korea are all multiple choice, right? Like our SATs. And so I was looking at the tests and I was just like, all of these are right.
No, but there's the most right one.
Right, there's the most. That's the thing. Like the
Yeah.
Korean test, it's the most accurately grammatically correct one. And I'm just like, y'all don't use this in English. Like you would never use this in a conversation.
That's how you know. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we approach English as if it's like
Math.
Again, math. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they try to learn the backbone behind it. And they try to
The theory
understand
of
the theory, the
language.
structure, the Latin roots, and like they're going.
That's why I think like a lot of because there's American English, British English, whatever English, or there's many different types of English. But I think when it comes to the correct grammar and like words, especially and all that stuff, I think while Americans and other people that natively speak English speak better, when it comes to the theory of the language and how it's used properly in words and stuff, people like countries like Korea might actually know it better than people like me or Isak would.
So
honestly.
I had a friend who was writing his like introduction to college, like his introduction so he can get into college. But it was full Korean. He was writing it for a U.S. college, and it was for his PhD. And so I was asked to look over it, and I was floored because I've had conversations with this individual and their English speaking skills were not as superb as what I saw on paper. He had a completely different persona
Of course,
on paper. He was witty, he was funny, he was passing jokes. There was a lot of like cultural jabs that like even me as an American totally forgot existed. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of nuances in there, and I was like, why don't you speak like this? Like you've never had a conversation with me like this, but
I bet
his writing is
there were like 4 or 5 people proofreading
Right,
his
right,
papers
right,
and,
right,
like
right.
adding all the details to that. That's the issue I found when I was teaching English.
You taught English?
I was a tutor for a while.
Oh wow! Look at that.
To
Pig,
Koreans.
the brainiac. Look at him.
He's the smartest one in this room right now.
Yeah, he is. I
I
think that's why he balances
There
us
you
out
go.
very well.
I taught some people like 직장인 mainly, and the fundamental issue was they knew more like very more words like the vocabulary.
Yeah.
They had better vocabulary than me, but they just couldn't speak a single word out of all those vocabularies. So I was so confused. You seem like you're better than me in English, but you just cannot speak.
I think it's also with the fact that for me, I was able to pick up Spanish living in Southern California more than actual high school Spanish. Because in high school Spanish, all you're sitting there is converting comer into como, comes.
That's because Isak is from them streets. That's where she got her experience from. No, but yeah,
I
it's
just had a
about
lot of Latino friends.
yeah, it's about the opportunity to use it. And in Korea, you're never gonna have as much of an opportunity to use
Yeah.
English as you would.
Though I
somewhere
think
else.
that our English, whatever we're doing with foreigner teachers and the more exposure to English is working, because I've been getting a lot of idols that are coming through that have pretty good English, even though they've never lived overseas before.
That was another thing. My 조카, nephew, or nieces, they go to an English hagwon, not English hagwon. They went to English 유치원 ever
Okay.
since like a kindergarten, ever since they were really young, and they keep going to English hagwon. And I see them, whenever I see them, they have accentless, perfect English. Like, I don't know about how much they know word wise, but they have accentless, which is incredible to me because they've never lived overseas. They don't have foreigner friends.
Right.
They were just exposed to it from such a young age that they have developed accentless English, which is crazy to me.
Well, because there's a lot of foreigner teachers that are
Yeah,
teaching in our
yeah.
high schools and junior highs and elementary schools as well. So I feel that in itself is like a perk for Korean education because it's the exposure again to what it is.
Right.
So I know that they have some more statistics, but I'm really loving the fact that we're just running with this topic for today. I honestly thought that we would not be able to talk about this that much,
There's
but
a lot to talk about.
there's
It's already
actually
2:40. What?
There's a lot to talk about. So, Dane, your request is Twice a Scientist. Is there a reason for this?
There is. It's kind of a funny one. The song talks about how you don't really want to calculate everything when it comes to love.
That's true.
You are so introspective. Like I'm just.
But this is kind
I
of why we
didn't
like
come up
being
with
in
that.
the
I know.
studio. But
You make-
he
makes me
knows
look
songs.
stupid.
No, he knows the songs. He knows the lyrics. He's coming from the musician part of things. So we're gonna take a listen to Twice Scientist. So we'll see you guys back after this with more of the show.
You want to message me? Go
RIRANG.
ArirangRadio.com.
All right, for our What If Word today, as Kpoppin continues with Joel and Dane in the studio, we're talking about if we lived in a world without the concept of math, which doesn't really make sense because even though we might hate the subject, math literally is everywhere, like Dane was saying. And so we only have time for one statistic today.
Oh no, we do. Okay.
So is there going to be a rock, paper, scissors between you two? Do you want to do
I'll
Kai
let you
Bible?
go. He was very excited to do it
Okay,
earlier.
Dane,
Actually,
what is your
I
what
was.
is your survey that you brought today?
A broad survey people took on, like, as they look back, what subject did they find most helpful throughout their lives?
okay.
It was I thought this was a pretty interesting topic to talk about.
Okay.
So I brought it, and the honor goes to 국어.
Like
Korean.
Yeah,
Korean.
Or
I
language.
think this refers to like any type of language because English is in the second place. Like
Oh, okay.
specifically, English is in the second place with the result of 20.8%. And by the way, 국어 was 22.8%.
Oh.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for third place, our best friend math is there. With history, they've got the same amount of votes, 12.7%.
Okay.
And the next place went to social studies. Social studies.
Okay.
It's got 7.1%.
I forgot what social studies is about, honestly.
The 정치 and like.
Oh, is that what
사회.
that is? Okay.
Yes, 사회. Yeah.
Like current events and stuff like that. Yeah.
And the last place sadly went to moral studies. It's got only 3%, but despite its place, I think this is like one of the most important subjects.
What is that in Korean?
도덕.
What is moral stuff? Do they have that in this state? I don't know what that is.
No, they don't have that in the
Yeah,
States.
right? Like how to be
They
a good
don't?
person?
I think
Is
we
that-
only learned the subject in elementary school when we were actually building up morality.
It's kind of like an etiquette class
yeah.
Oh.
in a way.
I feel like America could use that sometimes, honestly. Like, a little bit of home training.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, and I've said this before, and I'll probably preach this to the end of time. I want us to bring home ec and stuff
I
like
know.
that back.
That was big like a long time ago, but it's like phased out of schools along with woodworking
And we're working and
and
stuff like that.
metalworking.
Yeah. So like, when you watch like an old American drama where they have like
Breaking
cooking
Bad?
classes and no, like home ec. So like cooking classes for girls and then like, shop for like, like with mechanics like cars and like woodwork and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Those used to be subjects that you can take in high school in the US, but they slowly started taking those out. I think around the 80s.
Yeah, they
and then
don't
it was
have that
not,
anymore.
and then everything was like computers and stuff like that in the 90s.
I actually had like those kind of classes back in my high school. It was called product design.
Oh,
See,
I
I-
had
I-
wood shop like in
we
middle
didn't,
school.
yeah, we didn't have any of that.
Really?
Yeah, and so like I wish that. I mean, I did pick up sewing later, but like, even if you don't use it, I feel that like one semester of each would be, regardless of gender, I think would be really cool to learn how to
Yeah.
use a
Of
sewing
course,
machine,
yeah.
learn how to hem your pants, what the basic fundamentals of them. I know that at that age, probably a lot of kids are like, I don't want to do this. But I mean, still, like, I think
fun.
it would be really great chance to nurture somebody's artistic
Oh,
side
yeah.
and also open up a lot of job opportunities because the
Life
corporate
skills.
world like
Yeah.
and like life skills, like learning how to, you don't want to be a plumber, but you might want to learn how to like the basic
Yeah.
design of what your toilet system looks like. So if it does back up before something happens, you might know where to look at your house.
Right,
Exactly.
Right.
Instead, like just common stuff around the house. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you are giving that to a kid at a young age, whether they like it or not, at least they know it. They can at least choose
course.
to move on from there.
Please,
I agree. Yeah.
If something broke in my house and and I really needed to do something, I could pull out a belt sander or a table saw and know exactly what I need to do because
See?
I learned those skills
Yeah,
back then.
yeah,
Like if my
see?
table leg broke or something, I could know how to hammer it in properly. That sort of thing. Although all these answers are wrong because obviously recess for me was the most important subject at school.
Aaron says, I mean, we did have home ec and shop classes in my high school, which was around 2002. But I think the reason why a lot of people don't do this now is because we use YouTube. I mean, that's true.
Yeah, that's
but,
true, yeah.
But the thing is like, I feel that for me as an adult, to have to go online to look at a couple of videos and then learn that skill, and then actually having a teacher where I can ask questions, teach that skill is a very different aspect.
So if someone taught me how to, like, obviously I know how to thread a needle, but like if someone taught me how to sew a button back on effectively, if I had done it with the tangibleness in a class versus me having to do it on YouTube, which I actually have to look up a thing on YouTube because I know there's a certain way you have to like go behind the strings and stuff so it doesn't fall out again.
Right.
I have had quite a few times where I tied it, I put it back on, I was like, oh, look at me, and then like the next day I wear it and it like pops off, you know, because I didn't get hands-on experience with it.
Right.
You know?
I mean, like,
It feels really-
and being able to ask a teacher and like ask for guidance, even if they were available for like extracurricular activities. I feel that if they were exposed to the kids more often, I feel that it would be something to think of at a younger age. Like we might see more designers, we might see more plumbers, engineers, which is a dying breed at the moment because
That's why, like plumbers and like light people and those stuff, like there's so few people doing it now. They make a lot of money now.
I was watching this one guy who in the US, he knew the basic knowledge of fixing washing machines and drying machines for Korean brands.
Ooh.
And in Korea, our after service is amazing, right? But in the US, it's not. You buy it, you're good, you're
Tell me
done.
about
That's it. So if your washing machine breaks, like you have to just call maintenance. So he was making like 4 figures a month
Isak, we're in the wrong job.
Wow.
because he would charge like $300-$400 per house, but he was his own boss.
Like a personal
$300 to
business.
$400 per house?
Yeah. So if
Better
he,
off just buying a new washing machine.
but in the States, that's not the mentality. It's fix and use. And so mostly he would just charge $200-$300. And it's because he was in high demand. There wasn't enough AS
It's a
centers
very-
to
yeah.
choose. So if he do 2-3 houses a day,
That's 4
and
figures a day.
and he can choose. And it sometimes it takes a few hours, but sometimes it was only a few, like maybe an hour max. And so that's why, yeah.
If you really hustled, you could logically make $500,000 in a year. Oh my God, I'm moving. Bye, Korea.
All right, so we're gonna learning skills is actually better in the world. Anyways, Song Ga-young is on our track for today as we sign off with 그래도 나 사랑하지. Still love me, and we will see you next week.
I'll see you in 2 weeks, y'all. I'm going to the States.
So we're gonna have a special guest. So see you then. Have a safe trip. Bye.
Bye.